In this WrestleTalk news, Jeff Hardy spoils his own surprise announcing that he's all elite, Tony Khan teases a massive future announcement, and Ollie's going to be reviewing AEW Dynamite, so subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Now, there's been no shortage of Jeff Hardy to AEW rumours recently, with his brother Matt basically staging a dramatic reenactment on Jeff's last moments in WWE to really just drive that point home. But nothing has been officially confirmed until sort of now. Because the pair recently announced that they would be taking the Hardy Boys tag team on tour starting on March 12th at Big Time Wrestle in Webster, Massachusetts, but whether this would transition into the other major wrestling promotion was kind of up in the air. Like one of those surprises that Tony Khan is always sort of banging on about. Except for the fact that Jeff just sort of flat out told someone in an interview backstage at one of his concerts. He said, "I'm going to AEW." He's supposed to be the charismatic enigma and not the straightforward explainer. What a mystery. So yeah, in an interview with Jared Myers, Hardy let the news slip, adding, "I'm so excited. Until this morning, I didn't know. I'm so nervous and excited. And I've told you. And there's a mystery, and the surprise is ruined." Now, if the deal was only set in stone yesterday morning, as Hardy is seeming to suggest, we could be waiting a while for a surprise slot on AEW to open up, because there's so many. Tony can fit you in around April 2023. Because just about every week the AEW president is teasing this announcement or that debut. Play with the toys you have, Tony. Play with the toys you have. And he's been at it again. On February the 18th, TK teased that he was working on something massive, which would be a big deal in wrestling. But ahead of last night's Dynamite, he went further, telling Tony Schiavone, "We're working on something massive. The legal team right now has got us under NDAs, so I can't reveal all the details, but suffice to say, we're working on something that's going to be really great for the fans and the wrestlers, and it's going to be awesome." It's not like the first dance where I can put a date and a time and a place on it and say I know exactly when, but it is like the first dance in that I know it's something big and important is coming to AEW. So he's just casually teasing something on the scale of CM Punk returning to wrestling. Okay, you have my interest. But that's not even the end of all the moving and the shaking that old TK is doing in AEW, as according to Fightful Select, another top free agent was backstage at last night's show. Ring of Honor World Champion Jonathan Gresham was said to be behind the scenes for the taping, and there's no word on whether that means he's signing with the company or if there are any immediate plans for him to do any wrestling on the show in future. But it's worth noting that the Octopus has basically been touring promotions defending his Ring of Honor Championship since that company went on hiatus. And that's not even the end of it, because after weeks of rumours surrounding Shane Swerve Strickland's future in wrestling and some serious buzz after appearances at a number of promotions, it looks like we have the realest info yet. Fightful Select are reporting that after weeks of rumours, Fightful has learned that All Elite Wrestling is signing Shane Swerve Strickland. The correct choice. Time to hot tag to Ollie now.
Now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite. In about 5 minutes, AEW arguably have the best tag division in the whole world right now. Maybe even the best tag division in the history of professional wrestling. So what could be better than just throwing them all out there in the ring at the same time for a battle royal to crown the #1 contender for the tag titles? I know! Doing it twice! I'm booking almost the exact same thing for the following week. I'm seeing double here. 4 tag team battle royals. Such an uninspiring way to determine Jurassic Express's opponents for Revolution, where they just feel like extras to the Young Bucks Red Dragon feud, which is the other problem with AEW's tag division. No matter how much talent depth it has, they only really do good stories when the Bucks have the belts. When the Bucks are not the champions, all the other tag teams should be standing there asking, where are the Young Bucks? They do always have the in-ring wrestling to fall back on though, and the story, action and spots in this match were enough to distract from the bigger picture flaws. Santana in particular was on fire here, with the match's biggest reaction coming for him facing off against Trent because of their parking lot brawl 18 months ago. They've hardly interacted since. That's another tag team feud that deserved a lot more follow-up. The story was that the final 6 had no complete teams, leaving Santana, Trent, Kyle O'Reilly, Matt Jackson, Dax Harwood and John Silver without their partners. It came down to Adam Cole's boyfriends versus the Bald Boys, but then Kyle faked an injury so he could throw out Matt to win. fun match. But it is a bit weird, we're just getting it again next week, but with staggered entrances and the losers. This episode's strength, however, was angles and promos. Hangman Page stormed down to beat up Red Dragon after they attacked him last week, and the Bucks stepped aside, further building their long burn reunion. Cole ran down to save Bobby and Kyle, but Silver fought them off. Hangman hit O'Reilly with a buckshot, which Kyle sold for in only the way he can, and Page cut a promo on how he's going to beat Cole at Revolution. It was an effective segment, but I'm gonna stop you right there, Taylor Swift, because MJF just cut one of the best interviews of all time. MJF stood in the ring, tears welling in his eyes, and spoke about his childhood in school. He didn't fit in the classroom because of his ADD. He didn't fit in the football team because his teammates would throw nickels at him in anti-Semitic abuse. The only thing that got him through those school days was professional wrestling and his hero, CM Punk. But when he needed Punk the most in 2014, Punk quit on wrestling. Punk quit on him. MJF threw away his dreams, decided to become a football player instead, but he was unhappy. It ate away at him, so he decided to become the best in the world, not because of Punk, but in spite of him. Punk then came down, but not as a fiery babyface ready with some shoot replies of his own, but as someone concerned for another human being. Is it true? Punk asked off mic. MJF walked off without reply, and the commentary team, even Tony Schiavone, put over how they felt for Maxwell. Stop making me feel complicated emotions, AEW! MJF is meant to be a heel! It's the recognition that even the bad guys, even the guys you hate, even the guys that cheated to beat you in your hometown twice, they have their own struggles, their own lives, their own reasons for being who they are too. And that cut through to Punk, and suddenly the hero understands the true reason his arch nemesis hates him so much. This feud has entered its third and presumably for now, final act. And they've taken a direction I don't think anyone saw coming, basing it on the real emotion of MJF's relatable, humanizing past. This was MJF's supervillain origin story, and Punk is the former idol he now has to kill. The Knights of the Black Throne took on Pac and Penta in a rematch just a few weeks after their first fight, which was disappointingly, but ultimately, understandably, just an entrance and an angle, saving the actual epic tag they can have for the pay-per-view. Penta came out in his Oscuro gimmick, while Alex Abrahantes cosplayed as Count Dracula from Sesame Street, but Penta never really wrestled any differently, but it was all about that angle afterwards. Because the Knights of the Black Throne have a buddy now. Buddy Matthews, the former Buddy Murphy in WWE, made his debut in AEW, teased attacking Malachi, but joined him instead in a brutally awesome beatdown. Even with Chris Jericho cringily sticking with his new influencer gimmick, his promo with Eddie Kingston was another early contender for Interview of the Year. He put over Eddie strong, saying he realized after Kingston's debut match against what's his name? In a fun reference to Cody, he could be a huge babyface, to which Kingston replied, "What's a babyface?" It's still real to him, damn it! But Eddie's biggest weakness is his own head. Jericho said he has achievemophobia, a fear of success, and that'll stop him from ever winning the big one. Kingston's reply was typically raw, accusing Jericho of being a sports entertainer, not a wrestler, and that his blood is full of Kool-Aid he gives younger wrestlers to keep Y2J relevant. When they fight at Revolution, he wants the old Chris Jericho, AEW First World Champion Chris Jericho, the guy that broke out in WCW, the guy that Paul Levesque hates. No wonder Cody helped Eddie join AEW with all these WWE shots. This was a stellar performance from both men, with the match being more about Eddie versus Eddie than Eddie versus Jericho. If the HFO have so much money, why is their office always a random stairwell? Ricky Starks quickly beat 10 with a spear, meaning Team Taz has 2 people in the Revolution ladder match. Him and Powerhouse Hobbs crashed a Keith Lee interview later on. Jade Cargill beat the Bunny in a fun, heavily booked match involving Matt Hardy and Mark Sterling both trying to interfere with weapons, getting sent to the back, and Jade ultimately retaining to bring her unbeaten streak to 28-0. She asked, "Who's next?" And out came Ty Conti to set up a match for Revolution. And the main event was a dream Battle of the Dans match. Dan Yul Garcia versus Brian Dan your son. This was an awesomely violent technical match, having a more vicious edge than last week's Danielson match against Lee Moriarty. Danielson choked out Garcia with a triangle sleeper in under 10 minutes, because again, it was all about the post-match angle. 2.0 jumped Danielson, so Jon Moxley came out for the save. Danielson, in turn, saved him from a Garcia surprise attack, and the two agreed to fight at Revolution before, hopefully, starting their own faction. What did you think of Dynamite? Let me know in the comments. 84% of you voted for, "Stop making me cry, MJF, you're not meant to be a babyface." This was a promo and angle-heavy show with 3 excellent segments from Mox Danielson, Jericho Kingston, and MJF Punk, and Buddy Matthews' debut angle, which is exactly what you want to sell the pay-per-view. Save the big wrestling matches now for Revolution. This week's Dynamite is exactly the same as last week's at 88%. Now watch one of the craziest Quizzlemanias ever from last night.
Don't embrace the puppet, Sat. Never embrace the puppet. It will take over your life. Oh wait, oh god no, oh god no, oh no, hang on.
I can't believe it! It's so nice to meet you! Hello! How you doing, Gaff?